Good morning. This is Tiffany Harrod, and we're here today to talk about how to use Eduphoria for STAR goal setting and for progress monitoring throughout the 2018-2019 school year. Today we're going to talk about analyzing our beginning of the year data as compared to our STAR test from last year. We're going to look at our STAR goal setting activity. We're going to be doing another activity where we bring in MAP data, and then we're going to do a third activity where we bring in into Cycle 1 Common Unit Assessment data, or ECA data, so that we can compare all of this and begin a progress monitoring tool that we'll be using all year long. So step one is we're going to go get our STAR goal setting headers and our STAR data from 2018. Your STAR goal setting headers are located in Eduphoria form space. Inside Eduphoria form space, along with your STAR goal setting headers, there's also a sample document that you can use as a guide if you forget what we're doing on this activity. Here is the pathway to get into Eduphoria, but I'm going to show you how to do it also. All right, so we're going to begin. We're going to log into Eduphoria, and this is our home screen, and we're going to start in form space. Once in form space, you should have a tab that says Documents. Click on Documents and it's open up a list, and in this list you're looking for the STAR goal setting headers for 2018-2019. Once you tap on that link, it's going to open up two Excel documents that you can download to your computer. The first is the STAR goal setting headers. That's what we need today. You can also see that there's a STAR goal setting sample document that'll help guide you if you forget. When you download the headers, this is what the screen will look like. You're going to see on tab 1, STAR goal setting headers for reading, and on tab 2, you'll see STAR goal setting headers for math. For now, we're just going to minimize that and go back to Aware. In order to get to Aware from form space, we're going to click on our drop-down box in the upper right-hand corner, click on the Aware button, and it's going to take us into the Aware platform inside of Eduphoria. We're going to start on our Analyze tab, and you should see a list of all of your classes, and we're going to click on the link that says All My Students. From here, we're going to get different tests that are available for us to view. Right now, we're going to be looking at STAR test. And we're going to drill down, and you want to find the STAR test that your students took last year in 2018. So today, I'm pretending to be a 6th grade math teacher. So I want to look at the 2018 5th grade math test for STAR. Once I've drilled in and I've opened this test, I'm going to see our basic student scores view. This is the view that you see every time you open a test in Eduphoria. We're going to begin now by changing from the student scores view to the STAR goal setting view. You just click into that drop-down window, roll down till you see STAR goal setting. It's the second from the bottom. Click on that, and it's going to change your view. You're now going to have a list of all your students last year from STAR, and it will tell you if they were approaches, meets, or masters, did they make STAR progress, and what their percent score was. This percent score is going to be a driving factor as we analyze data all year long and progress monitor our students. Please remember, in our new accountability system, if we look at our percent score that our student made last year, and we ensure that the student makes at least that score or higher for next year, the student will make progress. We're going to export this data to Excel. When you do that, anytime you export data from Eduphoria to Excel, it's going to be in a protected view. You just have to click on that Enable Editing button up at the top to be able to work. Now you can see we have a list of our students, whether their approaches, meets, or masters, their STAR progress, and what their percent score was. Pay attention to how the title of your test is labeled. This one says April 2018 STAR Mathematics for grade 5. Now we're going to go open up the other Excel document on our toolbar, that is the STAR Progress Monitoring Headers. And I'm going to go look for the math test for grade 5. I'm going to switch my tabs. I'm going to go find May 2018 STAR Mathematics for grade 5. We're going to highlight this entire row of headers all the way out to the end. And we're going to copy and paste it onto our Eduphoria data that we just extracted. I'm going to go up to that upper right-hand corner, click paste, and you're probably going to get a little warning error message that says there's already data here. Do you want to replace it? And the answer is yes. Now you have a document that looks like this, a worksheet that looks like this, and you can see that we have our list of students. Yours will have their ID numbers, whether their approaches, needs, or masters, making STAR progress, and what their percent score was. We're going to be using this data all year long to progress monitor our students. So you may have done this activity at the beginning of the year, and if so, that's fantastic. If not, take time to do it now. What we want to do is set reasonable growth goals for our students. What is a reasonable growth goal? We want to pick a growth goal that is somewhere from 3 to 5% higher than it was in 2018. So let's look at student A. Student A was a MEET student in 2018. They were making an expected level of progress, which means they were growing at a year's rate every year. And then they made about an 81% on the STAR test. So a reasonable goal, increasing that 3 to 5%, is an 84 to an 86. We want to set a reasonable goal for our student to score between 84 and 86% on their 2019 STAR test to ensure growth. So where does this put the student? Well, for 6th grade mathematics, a student that is scoring between 84 and 86% will be a MEET student. So is it reasonable for this student to be moved up to the master's level? Well, to be a master's student, you have to score 88%. That's pretty close. That's not too much of a push. Maybe we can move this student up to the master's level. Yes. So now we have a reasonable goal set for this student for 2019. We have an idea about whether we can move them up to an entirely new performance level, or if they're probably going to stay in the same performance level that they were in the year before, but making growth. So now what we want to do is bring in more data to continue our progress monitoring. So step number 2 is to get your beginning of year MAP data. Hopefully all of the students in your class took the reading MAP test and the MAP test at the beginning of the year. We're going to run our MAP STAR projections in Eduphoria, and then we're going to add that into our goal setting worksheet that we just created. So back to Aware, I'm going to click on all my students again. Click on NWEA MAP this time. And we're going to go get the fall NWEA growth test that we just took. This is the most current data that's in there from NWEA MAP. It's going to open up to our student scores tab, just like always. We're going to click on that drop-down menu, and we're going to choose MAP STAR Projections, BOY, to change our view. And now we have our STAR projected proficiency rating. A couple of things I want to let you guys know about beginning of year MAP. Beginning of year MAP will predict how your children will perform on the STAR test with an 86% accuracy rate. So here we are at the end of the first 6 weeks of school, and with 86% accuracy, we know, that's our confidence rating, we know how our students will perform on the STAR test if they continue on through the school year at this current rate. We're going to export this data to Excel. Now, one thing we do need to do is we need to check and make sure that the names on this beginning of year map list match the names on your STAR goal setting worksheet. It could be that you've added some new students to your classroom. It could be that you have a student who didn't take their beginning of year map test. If so, you may need to add a row or delete a row in the student names all the way across. Once you have your student list matching for each data file, you're going to copy the contents of the STAR projected proficiency column. Please do not copy the headers. Only copy the student data, because we're going to paste that into our STAR goal setting worksheet. We're going to bring that data over and drop it into the column labeled Map BOY. And now we have a new set of progress monitoring data. So let's look at student A. Student A was a MEETS student in 2018 and making expected STAR progress. Their percent score was about an 81. So we know with confidence that they should be at the MEETS level for 2019, and maybe we can move them up to the master's level. Now that we've brought in our MAP data, we can see that MAP says if all things remain stable, this student will be a MEETS student in 2019. Now, step 3, we're going to get our ECA data and we're going to do the same activity. We're going to run our ECA data for our subject and then add that to our STAR goal setting worksheet, just like we did with MAP. Even though a couple of things that I want to talk to you about, remember we said the percent score for the 2018 test is a incredibly important number that we need to watch all year long. Because if our students scored 81% last year, we need to make sure that they score no less than 81% this year. So even though not all the TEKS are covered in each ECA, remember, we want students performing at that percentage level or higher. So this will help us to ensure that no kids go backwards. We're going to go back to Aware. We're going to click on All My Students, Common Unit Assessments, End of Cycle 1. This is going to open us up again to our student scores view, and this is what we need for this part of the activity, so don't change anything. We're going to directly export it to Excel. Again, checking to make sure that the names match. You may have a student who didn't take their ECA. If so, you may need to adjust and add or delete a student from this list. Now we're going to copy the contents of the percent score column. Again, please do not copy the header, only copy the contents. We're going to paste that into our STAR goal setting worksheet. Now we drop that in and we have 2 sets of progress monitoring data for all of our students. Let's look at student A again. Student A was a MEETS student in 2018, making an expected level of progress. They scored an 81% on their test. We believe they should be a MEETS student in 2019. We might can move them to a master's level if we really push them. MAP says the student will be a MEETS student, but our ECA data is problematic. The student scored a 56% on their first ECA in Cycle 1. That's a red flag. Now we're going to go and begin to analyze our data. You should be asking yourself some questions. Are your MAP scores in line with your 2018 STAR data? If not, why would that be the case? You can investigate deeper into your math by going into your MAP growth reports. Jason Sturgeon, the district testing coordinator, came to your campuses and showed you how to do this during PLC towards the beginning of the year. One report that I would strongly encourage you to look at is the report that's called Grade Report. This shows students detailed summary of their test data, and it allows you to set goals for your classroom and adjust your instruction so that all students are being successful at their own level. You're also going to analyze your ECA scores. Are your ECA scores in line with your STAR data from 2018? Are they in line with your MAP projections? If not, why? You may want to investigate deeper into your student learning standard breakdown to see which TEKS your kids are having problems with. In Eduphoria, you can change from the student scores view to the student learning standard breakdown view using your drop-down window. You're also going to want to have your TEKS verification document from the TEKS resource system. The TVD is going to tell you when you're going to be teaching these same TEKS again later in the school year. Or it's going to tell you there's not a direct opportunity to teach these TEKS again, and so you have to make a plan for small group instruction, warm-ups, reteach opportunities. This is also going to help guide you into setting up your tutorial groups. I hope this data analysis workshop webinar has been helpful to you. Please remember, if you ever have data questions, you can email me directly. Have a great data day and enjoy September 25th and 24th. And I hope you all have a great school year.